Boom. We are live. Gentlemen, stress and anxiety is part of being a man. It's part of being a top performer. You have to realize that you are eventually going to be faced with stress and pressure. The last thing you want to be is that scrub that cracks under the pressure that is inevitably going to show up. So, gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about how to reduce stress and anxiety for maximum confidence. So, as you start leveling up, as you start growing in your career, getting these gains, talking to these girls, you're going to be faced with inevitable stress and pressure. So, this is something that we have to get used to. We have to get used to regulating it, reducing it. And today we're going to focus on the best strategies to do that. Before I kick off the video, I want to mention that our newsletter is live. You can sign up for that in the link in the description below. And we're just going to be delivering different insights, wisdom when it comes to developing powerful confidence. Your boy is coming to you from Ecuador. De una parce, it's pretty cool down here, man. It's crazy getting used to it because the weather here is different, man. Like once you get below the equator, it starts to get colder. Summer time here is actually pretty cold. If you're on the northern hemisphere, it's hot. So, I'm getting acclimated. But let's go ahead and kick off this video. Let me go ahead and pull up the whiteboard so we can break down how to reduce stress and anxiety. So the funny thing is, I started off making this series of videos on confidence. It was something that I was requested from some of my boys, and I thought that I was going to keep it to around like 12 to 15 videos on confidence. But bro, it's this list has gotten a lot bigger since when I started. It's creeped up on me how many different aspects of confidence there is. Since we're focusing on deep confidence, I started this this series on the self-image. We went to setting goals and to the Super Mario effect, how to say no, when not to give any fucks, how to regulate and control your dopamine, developing positive networks with your career, in the gym, with your boys, learning how to fight, the importance of strength training and getting stronger, developing a healthy diet for max productivity, being out in the sun and in nature for confidence and reducing stress. And now we're currently on stress control. And I thought that we were going to finish around like 2 more videos after this, but I have like 10 more videos on the queue for developing deep confidence. And I highlighted this in a previous video, but the difference between deep confidence and situational confidence is that situational confidence, you just summon it in the moment. Deep confidence, however, when we actually talk about, okay, how can you become more confident? There's actually many layers to developing this type of confidence. And that's what we're highlighting in this series of videos. So if you miss any of these, you can catch them all in the link in the description below. And it will also get you caught up on where we're currently at with managing stress. So the thing about being a man is that you're eventually going to be put into leadership positions where you're leading teams, where you're leading other men, and or you might even be leading your family at this point if you already have kids. But eventually you're going to have kids, and you're going to be put into that leadership position. And along with being a leader, being a man, the masculine experience, you are inevitably do better, Jay, are going to be faced with stress and anxiety. So let me go ahead and pull up this this whiteboard here that we have for stress and anxiety here. So it's just part of it, man. Like you have to get used to it because, like, for example, man, you're gonna start talking to some girls. You got 2, 3 girls on your rotation. One girl starts giving you, headaches because you don't spend enough time with her, and then you're trying to level up your career, so you're studying for a different certification, you have more responsibilities at work, and all of this starts to pile up. You start to get stressed, you start to get anxious because of everything that's going on. And when it comes to stress, there's a couple of definitions that we need to understand. And the first one is the basic one, which is stress. And this is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. Let me go ahead and pull up the correct screen here. Just realized I had the other one. So yeah, so this is stress. This is the first one, and this is natural, man. Like this is what you usually get when you have to make a decision, like a tough decision in the moment. You know, when you go to work and you're solving issues, you're solving problems. This is this first level of stress. Then we jump into chronic stress, and this is the more detrimental one. Chronic stress is a consistent sense of feeling pressured and overwhelmed for a long period of time. So chronic stress is like if, let's say you're you're homeless and you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, you don't know where your next paycheck is going to come from. This is chronic stress, especially if you are in that position for long periods of time, because this is like a very negative state of mind where you're always pressured trying to figure out what's the next step. And this one is very hurtful, very detrimental for the body and for the mind. Then we have eustress, and this is a positive form of stress having a beneficial effect on health, motivation, performance, and emotional well-being. During positive stress or eustress, such as a promotion or vacation, feel good chemicals are released like endorphins. So this is like, yeah, like if you get a promotion, you know that there's going to be more pressure from the added responsibility, the added from the promotion, but it's good stress because you're going to be getting paid more, you're going to be elevating your career, so you do have that sense of stress, but it's positive stress. Then we have anxiety. So anxiety is a feeling of worry or nervousness or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So this is more future oriented, where you're thinking about what's the next thing, where should you take your career, what type of business maybe you want to go into, where do you want to live in the future, when do you want to settle down. This is when you start getting those feelings of anxiety because you're thinking into the future and you don't really know what's coming next. And depression is past tense. So this is when you start thinking about the past. Maybe you went through a breakup and you're thinking about that sadness or that loss. And this affects your day to day present activities. So anxiety is future tense, and then depression is past tense. So there's a great quote that I like by the Buddha where it says that meditation is the antidote to all poisons in life. And meditation is powerful. It's something that allows you to be in the present moment and allows you to quiet down your thoughts. That's what's powerful about meditation. This is one of the power strategies that we're going to be discussing as we roll along with this video. But I wanted to show you guys quickly this video from Donald Trump. A lot of people don't like Donald Trump. If I'm completely honest with you, I didn't like Donald Trump either, especially when he made his first run at, because he would talk a lot about Mexicans, man, and in a negative way. And my family's Mexican. I didn't really appreciate the way that he was talking down on Mexicans because he didn't really understand like our perspective. But and I was also in college during this time, and I think that when you're in college, you're just indoctrinated to think more. You're like you're more vulnerable for left thinking when you're in college. And as when I graduated, I started my own business, started traveling, started understanding the world better. I started to really resonate a lot more with what Donald Trump was saying. Like, I'm not saying that I'm like pro Trump, but I respect the man because he's an entrepreneur. He's accomplished a lot of successful ventures. He's well spoken, and like at this point in my life, man, I think Donald Trump has a lot of wisdom and a lot of great insights to learn from. So there's this great video that I like from Donald Trump. I'm going to go ahead and play it, And he just talks about how to handle pressure and why it's important to have the ability to handle pressure.
People that can, you have to have an ability to handle pressure. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now, I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure, in which case they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. Because I almost think that's an instinctive thing, the ability to handle pressure. Now, one of the things I tell people about pressure is, you know what? They said, how do you handle pressure? Who's had more pressure than me? Have I had pressure over the years? But one of the things I tell people about handling pressure is, remember, because he asked me the question, how do you handle the stress? You've got to be able to sort of say to yourself, nothing matters that much other than the real big deals with family, with your faith, etc.
So I really like this video because he makes it very clear to understand why handling pressure is important, because it's a part of everything. Like when you're trying to level up, you're naturally going to be faced with pressure. And like he said, like as long as the big things are okay, your family, your health, everything is good, while you're taking these big risks, where you're trying to start a business, trying to take another leap in your career, you know that at the end of the day, the big things are okay. And you have to be comfortable with taking those risks, especially if you want to level up. You can't stay in your comfort zone, because that's where dreams die. That's where you stop growing. And that's when the real problems start to arise. So the importance of controlling stress is that if you don't do it, it harms your mental health. It causes that anxiety and depression that we talked about. It causes high blood pressure. It weakens your immunity, your immune system. It diminishes your purpose and connection, weakens your focus, motivation, and productivity. And there's a lot of great strategies that you can implement to help you reduce that stress and anxiety. So the last thing you want to be is that scrub that folds and breaks under pressure, because like we mentioned, it's just inevitable. We're going to be faced with pressure from time to time, and we have to get used to handling it, especially as being men. The masculine experience is to lead. It's to lead your other men, your family, and to lead your life. So stress and anxiety is part of that process. So jumping into an implementation, the best way to reduce stress is to meditate. Meditation reduces your stress. It brings peace and well-being by calming the mind. You can do this through mindful meditation. It will improve mood and overall health, enhances your mental clarity. And it doesn't even have to be for long. As long as you do it for like 10, 15 minutes a day, you will quickly start to notice how much it just clears up your mind and makes you feel better. And there's a great quote there's a great video here that I like on how to meditate effectively. So let me go ahead and pull this up.
Okay, so I'm going to address two very similar questions that we've had. The first one is, my house is right next to a busy road.
And I want to mention one of the best apps that I like using is Medito for meditating. It's free. You can download it right now and you can start meditating, and it guides you through the meditation. Very easy to use. I highly recommend it. And this is the CEO, the founder of the app. So let's go ahead and play this video.
Road, and the honking is non-stop. I get distracted a lot due to this. Is there any solution? And then the other one is, what do I tell my family when meditating? All they do is ruin my meditation. Please help. So I think there's a very big misconception here that we need silence to meditate. In fact, I would say it can sometimes be more difficult to meditate when we have complete silence, because what we're doing when we're meditating is practicing being mindful of whatever is going on in the present moment, with acceptance and non-judgment of whatever is going on. So if there's a lot of noise from cars outside the window and they're honking their horns, then that is part of the present moment. So all we have to do is bring our attention to that. We can even use the sounds of the cars and the noise as the focus of meditation itself. The issue with the family disturbing meditation, that could be slightly different, because if people are being very loud and they're talking, then that could lead to you thinking, because if you're hearing words, maybe it will bring up thoughts, and you could be distracted from the present moment in that way. But generally, my advice would be the same, because the whole point in meditating is to become more mindful of whatever's going on with acceptance. And if we're going to be out in the real world and we want to be more mindful people, then we can't control our environment all of the time. And actually, when we're in high stress situations, or if we're in very busy places where there's lots of noise and lots of distractions, those are the times when the skill of mindfulness will come in most handy, because we can stay calm and collected and equanimous, even though the world around us is hectic. So see these instances as opportunities to practice being mindful when the external environment isn't a calm one.
So I really like this video because stop playing the video, because yeah, man, because stress is part of the game, man. Like you're eventually going to be faced with stress, and there's always going to be outside factors trying to negatively impact you, especially as you're trying to level up. So when we go inward, when we stop and meditate and we're in the present moment, we can really minimize that noise and focus on what's truly important and what's in front of us. So meditating is powerful, and like I said, that app is very helpful in case you need some help with learning how to meditate. When I started meditating, it was very difficult for me because of everything the gentleman mentioned. I would get distracted with everything that was going on around me. It made it difficult based on my environment. But when you put on those headphones and you have that guided meditation, it makes it 10 times easier. So let me go ahead and pull up the screen. Go back to the whiteboard. Should be this one. All right. Yeah, so another way that you can reduce stress is through breath work. So breath work promotes peace and well-being. Deep diaphragmatic breathing and the 4-7-8 method improve mood and overall health. These methods enhance mental clarity and emotional balance, supporting better decision making and productivity, which helps achieve your goals effectively. So breathwork is powerful. When you work out, when you go for a run, you're naturally doing these breathwork techniques. But if let's say you're at work, let's say you're in a position where you can't get in a workout, you can always do a quick breathwork meditation that can help you. And this is a great video that I like to follow from time to time whenever I need some help with managing and regulating my breath.
So now I'd like to talk to you about some breathing exercises you can do at home that will help with your asthma. A lot of times what we see happen with folks with asthma, and even folks without asthma who are stressed out or maybe have high anxiety, is we breathe from our shoulders in our thoracic area, this upper chest area. So you'll see a lot of shoulder shrugging, chest rising, and the belly sucks in. What we want you to do is breathe more from the diaphragm. So what we see when people are breathing from the diaphragm is the belly will poke out.
And when you say in there, that's like when you get all that stress on your shoulders, that's because your breathing is so shallow. You're breathing like this. You're not getting those deep breaths you're not breathing down into your balls, which is what we want to really reduce that stress and anxiety. You want to breathe deep into the diaphragm. So it's like, you want to feel that your stomach is inflating with air,
as opposed to the chest rising. So one way you can work on that is to take one hand and place it right over your chest. Take your other hand and put it right over your belly, just below the ribs. And what we'd like to see is if, as you breathe inward, your lower hand is going to poke out. So your belly pokes out. Upper hand doesn't move much. Maybe it rises a little bit at the end, but most of the movement's down here. As you exhale, this hand will come in as your belly sinks down and comes down in a little bit more. So that shows that you're breathing from the diaphragm. What you may find is you're a chest breather. The chest rises, the shoulders shrug, the belly sucks in on the inhale. That's the opposite of what we want. So one way you practice this is as you breathe in, the bottom hand comes up. Little movement up here. And you just work on getting that lower belly to poke out as you breathe in, have it suck in as you breathe out. And that shows us that you're breathing more from the diaphragm. You can practice that for 5 to 10 minutes a day, probably 3 to 4 times a day. It's something that will become instinctive with practice. At first, you may not be able to do it. You may struggle with it. All the breathing may happen up here. That's okay. It's like any learned movement. Once you get good at it, you'll get easier. And you'll start to do it throughout the day without thinking about it. You can also do this seated. It becomes a little bit harder from the seated position because now we're scrunching things down. You may need to start lying down on your back, which can be even easier. More sensation of what's happening through your middle. You'll get some feedback from the ground along your low back. So this can be done standing, seating, lying down. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are lots of different breathing exercises you can do on your belly in different positions, holding your breath, exhaling your breath as far as you can, inhaling as deeply as you can. So that could be a whole separate video, but at least start working on breathing through your diaphragm to improve that breathing capacity and decrease those asthma symptoms.
All right, so I just did this for like 2 minutes and I feel 10 times better. So that's the power of breathing, that you can find yourself anywhere. You could be at work, you could be at home, traveling, on the airplane. And if you need to reduce that stress, just take some deep breaths, breathe deep into your balls, and you're going to suddenly experience that reduction in stress and anxiety. So that's another powerful strategy that you can implement for stress control. And the last one I wanted to share here with you guys is, it's self-care, man. And this one's powerful. This was one that I just started getting more into. But self-care just means that you are taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your body. You can do this through massages, going for yoga, some time in the sauna. This just improves your mood and overall health, taking care of yourself. And my favorite way is to get massages, man. Get deep tissue massages, especially after like a couple weeks of working out, hitting the gym hard. When I get a deep tissue massage, I can really feel my body decompress, and I can feel all that acid that builds up from training to minimize dramatically. So self-care is powerful, and you can do this quickly. If you can book a massage right now and go get some much needed relaxation ASAP. So these are just a couple of ways that can help you reduce stress and confidence. This is a couple of ways to reduce stress, but if we tie this back to confidence, the reason why this is important is because you are eventually going to be faced with stress, and it's important to know how to manage that stress effectively, because if you don't, it can seriously hurt you. It can seriously make you feel like shit. Your mental clarity is not going to be as sharp. You're going to be depressed. You're going to feel anxious, and you don't want to be that scrub, man. I've been in that position, especially before I knew about these techniques, where I was always getting stressed about some minor inconveniences that were happening in my life. And I could notice that it was affecting other parts of my life, because I didn't want to go to the gym anymore. I didn't want to talk to girls. I didn't want to focus on myself, on my image. I don't want to like take care of myself, and it was really hurting my confidence. So take it from a guy that's been in that position. You don't want to be there, man. It's a very negative state of mind, and it's only going to hurt your confidence even more. So these are powerful techniques that you can quickly implement. Like we mentioned, meditation. You can use that app that I talked about, Medito. It can help you do a guided meditation, very effective. And the next one is breath work. That video is an easy way to do that. There's also the Wim Hof method. It's on YouTube. You can Google it, and it can help you with techniques for managing your breath. And then finally is self-care, man. Get massages, go get manicures, pedicures, take care of yourself. Hit the sauna, get a Turkish bath. A hot, warm shower is also helpful. It's a quick way to do it. And this is all just going to help you reduce that stress and anxiety. And it's like I said, it's part of the masculine experience. You have to get good at dealing with stress and anxiety, because it's eventually going to show up. So there you have it, gentlemen. This is the power of controlling stress. When it comes to confidence, if you know how to reduce and control that stress effectively, you are going to develop powerful confidence. So if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate it. Make sure to give us a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay strong, control that stress, and keep on conquering. Saludos desde Quito, Ecuador. Peace.